games. And I was like, never going to forget that again. That's fucking awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. So I see we have some hands raised. What I'm going to do today is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Was anybody around? I know Emery was. Was anybody around for my old like Facebook Live days? Anybody remember those? No? A couple of you guys? I know Emery, and maybe Joe Valdez, some of the OGs here. So what I would do in the past is I would do a breakdown of the process and go a little bit more in depth. And over the last couple of weeks, what I've realized from you guys, from your guys' role plays, is it's probably helpful to understand, like, just rep the fundamentals and really understand the psychology behind why you're asking the questions that you're asking, what questions you should be asking, and when. That way you're not just like, on your calls going off in the middle of nowhere. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to go through like a 6-part series over the next couple of weeks where I'm going to break down phase by phase the psychology behind why we're asking the questions, how to pivot when you need to pivot, and basically you'll have an understanding of each specific phase. And then from there, I've got a bunch of questions in the Q&A. So I will go into Q&A. If you guys have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. But we're going to talk about the connection phase. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from really, really simple concepts so you understand the basics. So if you guys are like following along, you're writing this down, make sure that you understand the basic concepts first. Then we're going to go into a little bit more depth of the purpose of each phase. All right. So let's talk about the connection phase first, right? Or we can just call it the beginning of the call, how you start the call. So before we go into any sort of discovery or situation, there's a few things that we need to see happen, right? Number one, we need to flip the script from I want something that you have to you have something, you want something that I have, right? And then number two, we do need to set the stage of the call in the right way. And I'm going to go over the purpose of this. So the first thing we're going to do is, you could say like we're going to, like, let's say, we start the call. You guys have all heard this. Hey, it looks like you just filled out a form on our website about possibly selling your home on Main Street, right? Or it looks like you just spoke to Dominic on my team about possibly selling a house on Main Street, right? Unless it's a cold call, right? If you're working cold call leads, SMS, inbound leads, you're going to start the call that way. Now, the first thing you need to figure out before you go into your discovery is what attracted them. And so there's a couple of different questions we can ask right here. And I'll give you guys some examples, right? So let's say that this is an inbound lead. Somebody give me an example of what you can ask on an inbound lead. When you're trying to get to find out why are they on the call with you. Who can give me an example? One of the OGs.
Well, what you see on our website or on YouTube that inspired you to want to look into this a little bit further.
Yep, exactly. So this is where we're going to go in a little bit more depth. The first thing I like to ask here is like something like, okay, cool. So it looks like you found us on, and then I'm going to repeat back where they found us, right? And so, like, for example, if I know that they came in from a PPC source, I'm going to hit them right out the gate with, oh, cool, man. It looks like you found us on Google. And then I'm not going to say, what was it about the ad? Because the ad and Google, it doesn't really correlate, right? If it was a cold call, I could just say, oh, and it looks like you had spoken to Sarah, right? So I'll start that first, because have you guys ever had a seller that literally just filled out the form and then they say like, oh, I don't remember filling anything out? Does that ever happen to you guys? Yeah, a couple of times, right? This is like a really good way to get in front of that. So if they're like, oh yeah, no, I didn't fill anything out. I mean, if you go, oh cool, yeah, you saw us on Facebook, right? It's really hard to lie about that. They're like, oh yeah, I found you on Facebook, right? It's hard for them to back out of that. Now, once I ask that question, I could say, what was it about let's say it was like an ad, TV ad, Facebook ad. I could say, what was it about the ad? If it's a search ad, for example, like they're looking us up on PPC, they don't really look at that as an ad. And I know that sounds crazy, but when most of the sellers, when they're looking on Google to find a way to sell their house fast, they look at your website as just another website. They don't think that they clicked on an ad. And this is like a little detail here that makes a big difference, because it either makes you look like a complete jackass or like you know what you're doing. So if somebody on, like, you guys are doing PPC, SEO, something where people are looking you up and you go, oh, what was it about the ad? And you're like, what are you talking about? I never clicked on an ad. I was just searching for ways to sell my house fast. So you could say here, what did you see on our website that caused you to want to look into this further? Right? Now, let's say it was a cold call. We're going to change this. I'll do like an inbound. So this is going to be inbound. And then we'll do an outbound. Okay. How many of you guys are working in outbound leads? Just like show of hands if I can see you guys. A couple of you guys? And none of you guys? Okay. A few of you, Shawnee. Everybody else is working inbound leads? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'll breeze through this quickly. So if you are, okay, Hunter, you're also working outbound. If it's outbound, I like to tee this question up a little bit differently. So bear with me for a second, because this is going to look a little confusing. But if it's an outbound, the way I tee this up, if I go straight into, well, what was it about the conversation that you had that caused you to want to look into this further? What is like one of the common objections that you guys get there? I don't know. You called me, right? You guys ever heard that? Well, you called me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear an offer. Yep. So we want to get ahead of that. We want to get ahead of that objection, right? So with an outbound lead, I'm going to say something like kind of a playful tone. Well, I'm guessing this isn't your first call. And then I could say, and then, so like that will be like my tee up. Then I'll say, just so I know, what was it about the conversation that caused you to want to look into this further? Okay, so let me show you guys an example of that. Shawnee, can I pull you for a role play?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so we'll do outbound first, right?
All right.
Yeah, it looks like you had spoken to Hunter on my team about possibly selling a property on Main Street. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you get tons of calls on this all the time. I guess, what was it about this conversation that caused you to maybe want to look into this a bit further?
Just timing.
Oh, in what way?
Yeah, I get all these calls, but it's time to move on.
Okay.
So
do you guys see the difference by framing that question? Well, yeah, I'm sure you get tons of calls on this, or I'm sure this isn't your first call on the property. And then you go, what was it about the conversation? It's harder for them to just say, you called me. Now, another way we can do that, I'm going to show you guys one more example. Yeah, it looks like you had role play with me again, Shawnee. Looks like you spoke to Dominic on my team about possibly selling your home on Main Street. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we kind of called you out of the blue, and I'm sure you've gotten a bunch of other calls, but what was it about the conversation that caused you to maybe want to look into this further?
Yeah, that's
you see that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's really hard to say, well, you called me out of the blue, because I already addressed that at the beginning. And so, like,
real quick, John, on outbound, if you just got a setter, but they're not going into the motivation and all of that, they're literally just booking the appointment for you to go through it. How would you approach it from an outbound perspective? Because they're not really going into your motivation.
Exact same thing.
You can still? Okay.
Yeah, you could be like, yeah, and I know they probably didn't cover much with you. They kind of just called you out of the blue, but just so I know, what was it about the conversation that caused you to maybe want to look into this further?
Okay.
So then they're like, oh, well, it was the timing, or, I was kind of thinking about it already. And then they said that you could do it cash. They're going to give you something like that, right? Inbound, right? I could just go straight into inbound. Here's another way you could tee it up. So let's say this is outbound. Inbound, I could go, I'm sure you saw a bunch of ads, right? Or I'm sure you looked at a couple of other websites. How many of you guys do direct mail? Does anybody here do direct mail? I'm sure this isn't your first postcard. Your first postcard, right? Or you could say, I'm sure this isn't your first, the only website you saw. What was it about the ad, the website, the postcard? Now you can say that caused you to want to look into this further. All right. So I want you guys to come off mute for a second. Or actually, you don't have to come off mute. I want you guys to let me know in the chat. What is the difference? I want you guys to think about, be the seller in this scenario. I want you to visualize yourself being the seller. And I want you guys to think about where your brain goes with these two conversations. Shawnee, role play with me, and we're going to go through two different examples. Okay.
All right.
Hey, Shawnee, can you hear me?
Yeah. Who's this?
Yeah, it looks like you filled out a form on my website about selling 123 Main Street, right?
Yeah, I filled out a ton of them, dude.
Okay. Well, I wanted to call you back because I really want to give you an offer. We're interested in the property. We checked it out. It looks like a great property, and I want to make sure that we get you a good offer on this. So walk me through.
So what's your
ask
offer?
you a question. Okay.
Yeah.
So in your head, when I say I really want to get you an offer, or I wanted to call you back, I wanted to do this, I wanted to call you back to make you an offer, I'm interested in the property. Let me know in the chat what happens in your head when you're the seller. If you're visualizing yourself as the seller right now, what happens in your head? Salesman, waste of time, price-based thinking. I'll tell you guys the number one thing that maybe you haven't picked up on unless you like really sit in that seat. You go, oh, this person really, there you go. Dominic has it. Needy. This person really wants my property. Oh, heck yeah. I got the best property ever. This is the best. They're going to be fighting over my property. I'm going to get a bidding war. Like that's what they're thinking in their head. Oh, I really want to make you an offer. I'm really interested. I really want to earn your business. I really want to make a deal. When you're using language like that, what you're telling the seller is that you are trying, they can solve a problem that you have, which is you want a property and they have a property to sell, which is the opposite of the truth. They have a property that they want to sell and we can help them with the offer, right? So if you listen to the difference, if I go, yeah, and Shawnee, just so I know, I'm sure you saw a bunch of ads. What'd you see on our ad that caused you to maybe want to look into this a bit further?
It mentioned that you guys were local. All of the sites mentioned that they can buy fast and cash and all that. I like that you guys were local.
Yeah, just so I know, why is that important to you?
I want to make sure that the number that you give me is the number.
Yeah, a lot of people reach out to us for that reason. Now, when you go about it with this angle, what do you feel as the seller? You guys can let me know in the chat, or Shawnee, what do you think? What do you feel as the seller when you go about it as this angle?
It sounds like you're really trying to hear my situation and I'm not just another number. Like it's a true conversation.
It's that, and also, yeah, it's more of like a natural conversation.
Right.
The biggest thing is I'm not saying that I want something that you have, right? I'm saying, hey, I can solve your problem, and obviously you have a reason that you reached out to me. What is the reason that you reached out to me, right? So Jeremy teaches this a lot with any sort of inbound sales, meaning like you have an appointment booked on your calendar. The first thing that they'll do is they'll say, okay, so walk me through what caused you to have this conversation with me today. Meaning you're in front of me for a reason, right? You have a problem you're trying to solve. I'm not the one with the problem. You're the one with the problem. So what are we trying to solve here, right? And it flips the entire dynamic from, needy salesperson to laid back, I'm here to solve your problems, right? Type in a 1 in the comments if you guys get that. I know you guys aren't all going to come off mute, but just type in a 1 if that makes sense for you. Type in a 2 if you still have questions, and I'll let you come off mute. No questions on that? Okay, cool. Awesome. So from there, how many of you guys have ever gotten, we're gonna go through another example here. So let's move this up here. Have you guys ever asked this question and you've gotten a really vague answer? So this will be like the answers, the responses, we'll put them in blue. Have you guys ever asked this question? You're like, hey, what caused you to want to look into this further? They're like, I don't know. I'm just looking. I don't know, just exploring my options, just searching around. Yeah, I just thought I'd take the call. I didn't have anything else to do. Has anybody ever dealt with that? Yeah. Okay. So I want you guys to understand that in the script, there is a second status frame. This is the first status frame. There's a second status frame here that is only to be used when you get a vague answer. And I'm going to show you why in a second, why it only should be used when you give a vague answer. So if they give a vague answer, the next thing we're going to do, we put this back into the white, is we're going to give them reasons why people typically reach out to us, right? And so I would use something like this. Well, most of the sellers that reach out to us are looking to sell maybe a little quicker than dealing with a realtor, where, you'd have to do all the showings, inspections, and not really know when the house is going to sell. And so you can ask there, is that what you were looking for? Or were you looking for something completely different? Okay, so let me show you guys why it doesn't make sense to do that every time. Or are you looking for something completely different? Can I get another role play partner? All right, LeBron James. I saw your hand go up, LeBron.
Stop.
All right, so I want you to give me a very specific answer. And I've seen this on some of you guys' calls. Like it sounds ridiculous, but I want you to give me a very specific answer. And then I'm going to, I'll just show you how I respond to that when I ask you what caused you to want to look into this further.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. So it looks like you found us on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Cool. And just so I know, what did you see on our ad that caused you to maybe want to look into this further?
Yeah, man. You guys promised a word. You're going to be all cash offer, fast close, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do nothing. I want that to happen soon.
Yeah, a lot of the sellers that reach out to us, they're typically looking to sell, maybe a little quicker than working with a realtor where, you don't have to deal with the agents. You don't really know when your house is going to sell for. Is that what you were looking for, or were you looking for something completely different?
Yeah, I'm looking for something very quick.
Yeah, so what would a normal seller would say? Yeah, I just fucking said that. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, I just told you what I was looking for. Why did you just add that other thing? So what it sounds like is you're reading a script, right? And so the way this actually works, if you want to use this effectively, what you do is now give me a vague answer, right? Okay. Yeah, and it looks like you had spoken to Sally on my team, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've probably gotten a bunch of other calls about this. I mean, what was it about the conversation that you had that caused you to, I don't know, maybe want to look into this a bit further?
Well, she said she was going to give me an offer.
Yeah, and that is kind of why people reach out to us. Now, most of the people that we work with, they typically are looking to sell, maybe a little bit quicker than listing with a realtor, where you do all the showings, inspections, and you don't really know when the house is going to sell. Is that what you were looking for? Or were you looking for something like completely different, just to see if I can help?
Well, she said you guys going to give me an offer, so without showings, things like that. So
without the showings, yeah, without the showing, sounds like that was the big thing for you.
Yeah, sort of quick, she said, right?
Oh, and quick too. Okay, now I have the real answer. So I wanted to harp on this because I've noticed this a lot with you guys that are, especially you guys that are newer, guys and girls that are newer, is that I noticed that you're trying to follow the script, right? But you don't know where to go if you get the right answer, where it's like, that's what you should have gotten. And so you just get stuck, right? And so I really wanted to slow down and spend some time on this. Now, let's talk about objections, right? So before we go into setting the stage, we have to overcome, if they're very hostile or they're getting a bunch of objections, you have to be able to overcome those before you can properly set the stage or go into your discovery. So one of the missions of your connection phase of the start of the call is to lower the guard with the seller. So let me get thank you, LeBron. Let me get another role play partner, and I want somebody else
Sure.
to. Who's that?
I'm happy.
All right,
Okay.
Emery. We'll go with Emery. So what's one of the most? You guys just let me know in the chat. What is one of the most common objections you get in the first 5 to 10 seconds? We'll go through a couple of them today.
Well, what's the offer?
What's
Or-
what's the
or-
offer?
Or why you calling?
Just give me an offer. Why you calling? Okay. What else? Is that the only one you guys get?
No, I got yesterday. I don't want you to call. I don't want a salesman to call me. This is what my lead manager said. She doesn't want an acquisition manager to call her because she'll feel like she's getting tested during the call. So
She
send
feels
my
like she's going to
offer.
get sold, right?
Yeah, send my offer via text. I don't want to hear anything else.
Yeah, that's kind of unique where that one doesn't come up much. But I'll just tell you, if somebody hit me with that, like they were like, "Oh, I'm not speaking to any salespeople." Oh, yeah, they're not salespeople. That's not what their job is. They're actually kind of the opposite. Their entire goal is to figure out exactly what you're looking for, and obviously, you're going to have some sort of questions about who you're working with, right? Yeah, their job is to make sure that you have all that information. That way, you can make the best decision for you. They're not going to be like trying to sell you or anything like that. You should already, it sounds like you already know you want to sell the house. They don't have to convince you of that.
Oh, okay. I got that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So it sounds like the biggest one that you guys are getting is just give me an offer, right? So I'll give you my favorite way to overcome that. And I'll give you a couple of other ways in case you guys have like a different style than me. Emery, you ready to roll?
Ready.
Hey, Emery, can you hear me?
Yeah. Who's this?
Yeah, it's just John. It's John Lalonde over at Sellies USA. Hey, man, looks like you just filled out a form on our website about possibly selling a house on Main Street. Is that right?
Well, I think I filled out 3 forms. Which company
Oh,
are
cool.
you?
Yeah, we're Sellies USA. So it sounds like you were possibly looking to sell the property, right?
Yeah. Can you give me an offer?
Well, that's what this calls for, man. Obviously, I would need to know a little bit more about the property, like the condition and when you're looking to sell. That way we can get you the best offer possible. Are you with me there?
Yeah. It needs to be remodeled, but it's 1,430 square feet.
Oh yeah,
It's,
we're gonna get into all that. I have a bunch of questions for you just for sake of time. But help me understand. You found us on Google, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what specific? Okay, now we're back into it. So that's the simplest way to overcome that objection is when they say, just give me an offer. You got to kind of laugh and you got to go, well, that's why I'm calling, man, at the end of the day. And they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. That is why you're calling. I sound like a jackass. And you go, but obviously, man, like I would need to know a little bit more about the property, like when you're looking to sell, just to see if we can do any good for you. Are you with me there? Okay, somebody said ditto to Daniel R. question. What was Daniel R.'s question? Oh, where is the script? Are you asking property condition questions? No, we're going to do that and not in situation. We're going to do that in obstacles. So right after needs, anchor, consequence. You need to you're going to get the condition right there. I'm going to go over that. I'll go in that, I guess, like 3 or 4 weeks exactly how we ask the condition, because if you're not careful with how you ask the condition of the property, it turns into them selling you the house. So they're going to start, if you're not really careful with how you ask the condition questions, it turns into, oh yeah, no, we updated the kitchen. We got brand new floors. We got brand new windows. We got this, we got that. So that in the process, that's going to be after needs, anchor, consequence, and obstacles. You're going to get time frame. You're going to get condition, influencers, all of that right before you go in for your final commitment questions. So that's when you want to ask that after you don't want to put them in a logical based thinking too early in the call. Okay. So let's continue. Send me your offer. By the way, we're going to get into those questions in the Q&A. So send me your offer. That's the easiest way to overcome it. Now, have you guys ever had somebody that just sounds like they're just a dick right out the gate? They're just like super mean right out of the gate. Andrew, you got him? Andrew Williams. I see you shaking your head. You get those every once in a while?
Oh, we do.
Yeah. So let's role play that, bro. I want you to just be like I want you to be an asshole to me. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. It looks like you filled out a form on our website about possibly selling your home on Main Street. Is that right?
Yeah, what's up, man? What do you want?
Oh man, it sounds like you've been getting a couple calls on this.
Yeah, man, I have.
Oh, hold on. You mean to tell me you didn't sign up to get like 100 calls a day on this?
Yeah, I mean, I made one form. I filled out one form, and then all of a sudden my phone's just been blowing up.
Dude, you know what? A lot of the clients that we've helped in the past have said that. They say they fill out one form, they end up getting like hundreds of calls. And you know what they say? Most of them end up being like complete knuckleheads that ask wildly irrelevant questions. And a lot of times they either never get to an offer, or it's like a complete lowball. Is that kind of what you've been dealing with?
100%. I'm kind of sick of it.
Yeah, man, I would be too. And our clients would say, now I can go into like the rest of the process, but you see how like quickly it just disarmed you? Because what did I do? I identified with exactly what you were dealing with before you even told me. And I said at the top, a lot of the clients that we've helped in the past have said that same thing. Right. And so like, it's interesting. I've heard salespeople use this, especially like when I've gone from competitor to like from like a competitive person to like a different competitor. And so like, for example, if you guys ever switch CRMs and you talk to a good salesperson, they'll be like, oh yeah, a lot of people come from Salesforce to ReSimpli because of that reason. And you're like, oh yeah, so I'm not alone. It kind of groups you in with like, I'm comforted now because I'm not alone. I'm not the only one feeling this. And so that's a really good way to disarm them. So those were like the big ones. The rest of them, just give me an offer. Yeah, I want an offer. I don't want you to lowball me. If say I don't want you to lowball me, what I typically say there is, well, I mean, we wouldn't be in business if we just lowballed people all the time. And honestly, I'm not even sure we'd be able to buy the property. That's actually the purpose of this call, to find out a little bit more about the home and like what you're actually looking for, just to see if it even makes sense for us to talk about this further. Then they go, okay, like that's the easiest way to overcome that. I think that was all the objections. You reached out to me. I'm not selling. Oh, this is my favorite. I don't know who Alpha Bravo is, but you want to come off mute? All right. He doesn't want to come off mute, or she, whoever that is. Somebody hit me with that objection. I'm not selling unless it's a good offer.
Well, you call me, so give me an offer that I cannot resist. Then the house is yours.
That's a different one. Give me an offer is a different one than I'm not selling unless it's a good offer. It's a different objection. So they're like,
You
oh
reach
yeah,
out to me, I'm not selling unless it's a very good offer.
well, you know what? Out of all the houses we've bought, I don't think anybody's sold for a bad offer. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's actually why we're calling. We would need to know a little bit more about the property, the condition, right? Like those are all things you can use inside of your connection phase. Now, if you guys don't have this completely dialed in, like you're going to get stomped. Like you can't even get through the rest of your call unless you have a handler ready for every objection. You got to have, like, think about it. Like if your job was an electrical engineer and you don't know how to put wires together, probably gonna be fucked, right? And like for some reason, salespeople go, "Oh, well, I get this objection all the time, but I don't know how to perfectly overcome it." Fucking doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to get this down. You're gonna continue to lose deals if you don't nail this part of the process. Is lowering the resistance, turning the table from I want something you have to you want something that I have, and being able to lower the guard with all of those objections. Type in a 1 if you guys get that now. Cool. Awesome. I just want to make sure, like the ones in the chat, you guys can come off mute, but I see a lot of you guys like cameras off muted. So I'm going to be easier on you guys today. You guys can just type in ones. All right. So the next part is going to be setting the stage of the call. Why do you guys feel like this is important? Why is it important to set the stage? Why not just jump into like the rest of your call?
You have control.
Mm-hmm.
Provide
100%. What's that?
Provide agenda to the seller as well, just so that they know what to expect.
Yeah. I don't like the word agenda, but I agree with you, La. So the reason that you want to set the stage is Hayden nailed it. Like you want to have control over the call. But the second thing is you want to make sure that they understand that you're going to ask them questions. Because I know this sounds ridiculous to us because we're all wholesalers and flippers and we understand like how sales works. But a lot of times the sellers fill out the form, and what they literally think is going to happen is you're going to answer the phone and be like, all right, Mr. Seller, your property's qualified for $236,000. Do you want to take it? That's what they think. They're like, cash offer, 5 minutes or less, you know, like that. And especially if you guys are working PPL leads, they're fucking shooting you guys in the foot with that shit because they're fucking saying that shit in their ads. And so you got to be prepared to set the stage of the call so they know that you're going to ask them questions, right? Now, I want to give you guys, I've heard some of you guys that was like absolutely atrocious the way that you did this. So I'm going to make sure I nip that in the butt today. The first thing is like pretty simple, right? You don't want to sound like a salesperson. So what would a salesperson say when they're setting the agenda? What would a salesperson sound like?
Hey,
At the end of a
how's it
call-
going? How's your day?
Yeah, that's right, Hunter. Yeah, how's your day? What else, La?
At the end of a call, you just give me a yes or no, and then we'll get this down for you.
Yeah, but just give me a hard yes or a hard no. Nothing in between. All right. Don't tell me that you need to talk to your partner. Don't tell me that. Just give me a hard yes or a hard no. Right. Have you guys ever hopped on a call with somebody and they said, this is to see if we're a good fit? What do you guys think when somebody's like, oh, this is to see if we're a good fit, but you're like jumping on to like actually buy something? You're like, oh, so you're telling me you're not going to sell me if we're not a good fit? You're like, yeah, you are, you little fucker. Like you're going to fucking try to sell me no matter what. Right. There's no good fit. Right. And so like that word good fit turns people off, especially with an offer like wholesaling. It's like, you know, imagine walking onto a car lot and, you know, like the car dealer's like, yeah, well, you know, honestly, I want to sit down with you first just to see if we're a good fit because I don't even know if I'm the right person to sell you a car. You'd be like, well, fuck yeah, you're not the right person. You're a weirdo. You know what I mean? So you don't want to give people like these little things, just they fucking creep people out. And so you want to just sound as natural as possible, as much like a human as possible. And so the way we do that is we downplay the call. We're like, okay, yeah. In this call, it's really basic, right? It's really on the basic side. It's just for us to understand a little bit more about the property. Let's see, a little bit more about the property. You know, like the condition and when you're possibly looking to sell. Just to see if we could do any good for you. Okay, now there's a million different ways to end this question or end this sort of statement. Just to see if we can do any good for you. Are you with me? Okay, when I say end it, not just are you with me? So this is where I hear people mess up is they'll say something like, oh, just to see if this is something that we can buy. When like it wasn't the right time to use that question. Or you guys maybe have heard this before. Yeah, because you might be better off listing it with a realtor. Like you can use that sometimes, but you don't need to use that every time. So let me give you an example of when you want to use that versus when you don't. All right. So when the seller says, you know what, like, you know, like what attracted you? They say, well, you know, I'm talking to a realtor right now and I am thinking about putting my house on the market, but if I could sell it quicker, that would be a little bit more helpful. And then you go, okay, well, then this call is going to be pretty basic. It's really just more for us to understand a little bit more about the property, the condition it's in, and like when you're possibly looking to sell. Because honestly, you could be better off going with the realtor. I'm just not sure yet. Are you with me there? You see how that actually lands because they said, I'm considering a realtor. It makes sense to go, yeah, because, you know, you could be better off listing it with a realtor. But if in the fucking first question they say, oh, I just want to sell it cash. I don't want any commission. I don't want to pay any commissions or closing costs. And I need to sell it in the next 3 weeks. And then you go, yeah, because you could be better off just listing it with a realtor. What's the seller thinking in their head? You're a retard. Why'd you just say that? they're going to be like, I don't want to list it with a realtor. Are you not hearing me? Right? That's what they're thinking. And so like you can end it there, right? Now, let's say they're really aggressive at the beginning of the call. They're like, let me know what you want to buy it for. If you want the property, then give me an offer, right? They're like super aggressive. If you want the house, make me an offer. Then I might say, okay, cool. Well, this call is pretty basic. It's really more for us to find out a little bit more about the property, like the condition it's in and when you're possibly looking to sell. Because honestly, right now, I'm not entirely sure we would buy it. That's actually why we're having this call. So now I'm pulling back because he was super aggressive. Like, you want my property, make me an offer. I'm going to pull back further. I'm going to be like, because honestly, right now, I'm not entirely sure that we would buy it. That's actually the purpose of this call, right? I'll use that to pull back. If my go-to is typically like if someone's nice, someone's open. Like if someone's really open, I'll typically say something like this. I'll say, yeah, this first call, it's pretty basic. It's more for us to understand a little bit about the condition when you're possibly looking to sell. Because honestly, we do a lot more than just giving you an offer on a piece of paper. And the more information that we have, just the better we're actually going to be able to help you. Are you with me there? That for somebody like more open will land, because then I'm encouraging them to give me even more information, right? And like with my team, that's their go-to because they're really good at getting people to open up in the beginning. So they'll hit them with, at the beginning of each call, yeah, just because like the more information I know, the better we're going to actually be able to help you with this, and we'll give you the best offer possible. And then that way, when they get into situation and problem awareness, and the seller's like, why are you asking all these questions? Oh, you remember at the beginning I mentioned that, when we have more information, we'll be able to help with a lot more. For example, like we had a seller a couple of weeks ago that we found out that she was going to be separated away from her son for a while. And so we literally like gave her some money just for her to be able to move in closer to him, just out of our own pocket, because we felt like it was the right thing to do. And so I like to ask these questions to figure out everything that's going on. That way we can help you the best way. And then they're like, boom, right into the real problem, right? And so there's a couple of different ways you can set the stage here. But the most important thing, like I'm not going to write all of those out, right? You have to get really good at being able to pivot. And that's what makes a conversation sound natural or unnatural, right? Like notice for all of the role plays that you guys heard with me today, did any of them sound unnatural? Did any of them sound scripted? But you've probably seen me like at some point write a lot of that stuff out, like the objection handler. Sounds like you got a lot of calls on this, right? I have it. It's just in my head. It's just ready to go. It's like a tool that's in my toolbox that when I need to pull out my Phillips screwdriver, it's right there, right? And so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to react. And this just comes from reps, right? The more reps you get on this and the more times you role play this, you practice this, you go implement, you do call reviews and you review it, the better you're going to get. And then eventually you're just like, okay, I don't even have to think about this. You guys could literally sit here and hit me with objections for 15 minutes. And I'm not even going to use any brain power to try to think about how I'm going to overcome them. I'm just going to sit there and just do it. Right. So any questions? That's the connection phase. First of all, did you guys find this more helpful than just like going through the random Q&A that we normally do? Did you guys like this sort of style? Like we're going to go into Q&A, but did you guys like kind of going in a little bit more in depth on like what the calls look like?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, type in a 2 if you do not like it.
No, it's really helpful.
Okay, so everybody's on a yes. Cool. Awesome. So once everybody says yes, perfect. The reason I ask, I want to make sure that we've been doing a lot of role plays, and I'm like, you just need work on the fundamentals, not like anything advanced. And so I'm going to break these down. I'll upload them. I'll update the modules inside the school community too, so you guys can have like a breakdown of connection, situation, problem awareness, stuff like that. I'll get those updated in there as well, and then I'll leave it some time so we can get through any of the questions that were asked in school. So let me pull up the Q&A, and then you guys we're going to jump into Q&A from here. Let's see. Natalie already put it on my doc. Getting reps in. What's the best way to get reps in without spending money? Emery, how much are you talking about? $0? Are you talking about like spending a lot of money?
Zero.
cold calling foreclosures and door knocking. So do you guys remember Jamari from the school community?
Yes.
So I brought him on my team. I ended up hiring him, and he's locked up, I don't know, probably 12, 13 contracts in the last like 60 days. And so like since starting, yeah, fucking savage, right? And so one, we practice every single day. So he's gotten really good, like objection handling and stuff like that. We train every single day, but he's got the full system now. But one of the things that made it so easy to train Jamari is before Jamari jumped on my team, he was doing a lot of door knocking. And so he was door knocking foreclosures. And so he already expected the seller to say no. If any of you guys have ever cold called or door knocked foreclosures, you literally have to go into the conversation expecting them to say that they don't want to sell the house and they have it taken care of. That's just how foreclosures happen. You know what I mean? So like foreclosures, when you call them, you're like, hey, did you already take care of the foreclosure? Oh yeah, I already got it taken care of. So first thing that they hit you with. So you immediately have to be ready to handle an objection within the first 3 seconds. And so like he doesn't hear no's. He just goes, okay, well, every single no is really just a concern or an objection. So I'm just going to try to overcome it. And that's why he was so successful. Like he locked up four contracts just last week. Like, so yeah, he's a savage. But he started, what's up, Shawnee?
I say he killing it. That's awesome.
Yeah. And if you guys remember Michael from the group, he's also doing about the same. Like fucking those guys are absolutely crushing it. They're both locking up 2 to 3 contracts every single week. So and they've started the same way. Everybody starts from somewhere. So the reason I bring that up is like if you can cold call foreclosures and door knock foreclosures, nothing will get you better at being like quick. And door knocking is even better because like you can't like get nervous and hang up. Like they're just going to slam the door on you. So door knocking, there's a lot more pain there. And so you're going to get way better if you door knock. So if you're just trying to get reps in, brother, that's what I would do. Or go work for somebody else. It doesn't cost you money to go work for somebody else.
Speaking of that, John, will we have like an in-depth breakdown of the foreclosure script? Because I think it's very basic, kind of like what's in the portal. Like I would benefit from that because I've been trying to do foreclosure, but I kind of get turned around on those.
Yeah, that'll take me some time because I don't do a ton of foreclosures. I have a couple people in the advanced group. So like I got a girl, her name is Lindsay in the advanced group.
Yeah, she came on this call a few times. She's savage.
She's savage, right? She locked up 4 contracts this week. Just cold calling foreclosures. And that's all they do is cold call foreclosures. And so they have a good process that I don't know that I can talk to them about it. The main thing is like the one thing that we've built out is you got to get them into future state. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but you have to get foreclosures into future state where they realize that they can't just keep holding on to hope that the property is not going to foreclose. You got to nail that down. If you don't nail it down, you'll never close foreclosures. Once she got that, like it was like that one little switch. She went from like struggling on each one, every single person. She couldn't even get them past, I've got this taken care of. And now she was just like, I'm closing them faster than I even knew what to do with because she got them through that into problem awareness into future state. And once she got future state, it was like needs right into commitment. And she's fucking crushing it. So there's a lot there. The thing is like the scripts aren't going to save you. You know what I mean? Like I can't just give you a script. It doesn't, scripts don't really do anything.
Framework, but yeah, that makes sense too. I guess behind it, I need to understand what goes on. You know what I mean? Like
you have to.
Yeah, because I can't really just throw shit out and think I'm going to be able to save them also. Like if they're working through a loan modification, okay, if you more than 30 days out, it might work. But if not, it ain't going to work if you ain't heard from the bank. You know, like those little pieces to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that comes with reps. That's the biggest thing is it comes with like practice and getting constant coaching feedback. So like with Lindsay, for example, you heard her on one of the calls. She's literally like I would just, she would show up on every single role play every single day, and we would just work on one part of the process until she got it. And then she would just move on to the next one. We would work on one part of the process until she got it. And then we
Okay.
move on to the next one. So like that was just reps. Like there wasn't really a script. And she honestly was using the exact same script to like we made a couple of tweaks, but it's like a very similar script that she was using even before she joined the advanced group. It was more of like a process thing. Cool. All right, Emery, question for SDR in-person calls. What does that mean, bro? What's an SDR in-person call?
Well, if you're saying an appointment for somebody to go out to the
Oh,
property.
an in-person appointment. You're setting it for an in-home.
Yes, there we go.
I know I want to leave meat for the acquisitions. I call within 3 minutes. How deep do you go into problem? What are the best questions to ask? Basically, I literally just do this. Role play with me for a second. And
All
just
right.
so I know, I mean, you've had the property for the last like 5 years. Why look at doing this now?
Well, I want to get, my grandkids are starting to grow up, and I'd like to get a little closer.
Okay. And how soon were you actually hoping to be close to them?
Well, I'd like to do it before the end of summer, or
Okay, is
certainly
it-
before Christmas, should I say? Well, Thanksgiving would be ideal. Spend Thanksgiving over there.
Oh, wow. So in the next like 60 days, you're hoping to get out there. And is it just you, or is there anybody else that you would need to run this by that would like to kind of know what we're doing here?
Well, I'm talking to a real estate agent. I don't know if I don't know if she needs to be part of this or not.
No, typically they don't. And now I'm just booking the appointment. It's
Oh,
really just like,
all right.
why now? And then I go, why now? I get the real motivation, because all you need to know is, do they have enough equity motivation? Are they the owners of the property? Time frame next 90 days, and do they have actionability? That's it.
Uh-huh. Appreciate
Does
it.
that? Yep. You had another one. Constraint is low number of leads to appointment. If seller prop does not qualify to set an appointment, how is best to track to bow out? What does that mean?
Bail out. So, well, the second part, so if, they don't have the motivation or the time frame, what's the courteous way to say no to setting an appointment? How do I get out of it? And make
Yeah, I
them
could
feel
give you
good?
an offer that just sounds like you're, I mean, at least like 3 to 6 months out from even selling. And honestly, the comps are going to change between that time. So here's what I would suggest. Why don't we set up a call for, let's call it like 2 months from now. That way we're a little bit closer. We know what the market's doing at that time, and we can give you a real offer. Would that make more sense?
Absolutely.
There you go.
And so the first part of the question is, there's a difference between when you got a lot of appointments and you want to qualify and when you don't. In this case, it would be we don't. So how do we adjust any offers of advice, how to adjust things?
Aren't you on
to-
Rohan's team?
Well, that's what I'm applying. I'm applying for Rohan, and then somebody else
Yeah.
asked me if it does not work out with Rohan, that I would go with them. So I'm thinking being a setter is a great way to start. It's a lot simpler.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Gets me going.
Yeah, because if you're on Rohan's team, he's in the advanced group, and we have an entire SOP doc that's like broken down step by step of if your lead to qualified is low, if your qualified to appointment is low, like what exactly you should do. So I can send that to Rohan. Actually, I have a one-on-one with him coming up. So like that's a thing that it goes in order. It's like speed to lead. There's the messaging, call cadences. There's a bunch of things that will add up to that. So you kind of have to go step by step. There's not like a blanket, oh, just do this. Like I would say the number one thing is your speed to lead, but I'm guessing you're already doing that, right?
Yeah, within 3 minutes, it
Yeah,
would be the
so-
objective.
Is it your contacted lead to appointment that's low?
Well, no, I haven't started.
Oh, well, then you're asking the
So-
wrong question, bro. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Well, there's another guy, Matt, who, if it does not move forward with Rohan, then I would go with Matt. And he will be just starting in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so the objective there will be, somebody inquires, I call them within 3 minutes.
Yeah, but don't start worrying about the metrics before you got in the business. You don't even know if that's the constraint.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't try to solve a problem that's not there. It's a famous Elon Musk quote.
Oh,
First
all
thing
right.
he looks at is, should you even be trying to solve this problem? because he's like a lot of engineers that try to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. And so,
If it ain't
yeah.
broke, don't fix it yet.
There you go. And then the last thing was the last question was, where in the script are you asking for property condition questions? This is going to be after the needs, anchor, consequence. Cool. I think that was everybody. La, did you have a question? Oh, wait. When do you know to let go of a lead based off of price not being met? Dominic, we never disqualify a lead based off of price. That's your job, is to work on the price. Your entire sales process is to get them out of price-based thinking into result-based thinking. You're only letting go of a lead based off of not enough equity. So basically you can't buy it. You're not going to make any money unless you're doing sub twos, then equity doesn't matter. Not enough motivation. So like they don't actually really have a reason that they want to sell the house. They don't have a motivation to sell. They're not the owners. You can collect over a lead because they're not the owners. You can't close a deal if you're not speaking to the owners. They don't have a good time frame. So if they're not going to start the process in the next 90 days, then you can let that one go. You can go, I'm going to call you back in a month or two. And then the last one is actionability. So there's nothing that's going to prevent them from selling. So if they're like, yeah, I would really love to sell, but there's $1 million lien on the property and it's, $100,000 property, but so I can't sell until I clear that lien. Like I wouldn't count that against your offers because you can't close that. Even if you got it under contract, it's not going to close. You know what I mean? So those are the 5 things that we qualify off of. EMOTA. Yeah, 5 things. We call it a MOTA, and that's how you know if an appointment should be an appointment. But price is not on there.
Okay, so like, what about, say you've already done all that, you've already done all the thing, but they're like super set. So it's like your MAO came out to 140, and then they're like, nope, I absolutely want 180. And then you already did all the things, you already did all of the tricks, tips, hints, already tried to get them. Like, when do you just be like, okay, so I'll just circle back probably like in a month and see. When do you just like, or if they're absolutely stuck?
I mean, if I ran out of tools, like if I'm like, all right, I went through my price objection, I cooked them on price objection, they gave me a partner, I went through partner objection, they're like, now it's a fear objection, I went through fear objection, I'm like, I went through all of it, and then it comes back to price, then like, I mean, if they have enough motivation, you shouldn't be losing those deals. But you basically like you went through your entire objection handling framework, and then I would go, okay, well, just for sake of time, I'm going to call them back and I'm going to try to work this later.
Okay. Yeah, I do run into that. I'll get somebody and I've done every option, every solution, but then we mostly, so like right now I'm calling like cold call leads. And then so most of the cold call leads, somebody talked to them before, or somebody already gave them a price. So I'm just trying to see like, when do you know to keep on digging, and when do you know to just throw it and go on to the next one?
I'm going to give them an offer no matter what if they meet a MOTA. So I'm always going to give them an offer. When do I quit on the lead? It's like, all right, I've thrown the farm out. And so like I just right now I don't feel like I'm good enough to be able to close this. So I'm going to use this as a study opportunity to figure out what could I have done better to be able to get this so it doesn't happen to me again. Right? Like I'll tell my team, like, you guys go as hard as you can on objection handling, because I'd rather you get hung up on than lose a deal because, you didn't try hard enough. So it doesn't happen very much because they're really good at objection handling, but I'd be happier that they pushed really hard and maybe got hung up on than if they I just heard them fucking cop out and they didn't try to overcome a fear objection or didn't try to overcome a price objection. Like they need to go through the reps to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then we don't disqualify off price. So we'll give them an offer. This fucking happens very often. Sellers come in, they ask 250, we lock them up for 120. It's what our business is. That's the entire business model. I would say it's extremely rare that we have a seller that comes in at our MAO. They're asking prices anywhere near our MAO. Very rare. Almost impossible. Like almost never. Right? So does that answer your question? Lo, what's up, dude?
All right. I know you only have 6 minutes, so I have a quick, not really quick. So I think I'm getting into trouble when I'm doing the foreclosures and I send a text to them to book the meeting. The text is literally saying that, hey, we're going to have a conversation about how to save your house. If we cannot really save your house, we can discuss the cash offer. Then I think a lot of people book the call with me, and then all they want to know is how they keep the house. How am I able to turn the table and say, hey, you just couldn't keep the house? Because I just had a situation yesterday. The lady was like, hey, if you cannot help me, I'm waiting for $100,000 from another person is going to give to me to reinstate a loan. If not, I'm going to file bankruptcy. I have it all sorted out.
Yeah, you have to go through objection prevention for each one. So like, what are you hoping to accomplish by taking out the money for the $100,000? Oh, well, I'm hoping to pay off the back dues and reinstate the loan. Yeah, and honestly, that could be a good option for you. However, would you want to take out another $100,000 worth of debt if you didn't have to? Well, no, not really. It's like, yeah, and I could see why you were looking at that option, but do you see how that's probably not the best option for your future? Yeah, actually, that makes sense. All right, well, then I'll just do a bankruptcy. What are you hoping to do with the bankruptcy? Just buy some more time. And look, we could buy all the time in the world that you want, but at the end of the day, does more time actually help you? Because you've had like 6 to 7 months to be able to do something about this. Well, I'm thinking it might help me fix it up so I can sell it. It's like, as soon as I get them to go like in any sort of direction that I would sell it, now I'm going right into future pacing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to get them into future pacing. Otherwise, they're just always holding on to hope.
Yeah, that's my struggle right now. It's like, okay, they start with, I want to do a loan modification. I'm waiting to hear back from the lender.
Yeah, are they working?
No, I think they're not. So
Ask them. If they're not working, the loan modification is not going to go through. You need to be able to tell them that.
okay, got it. Okay,
Tactfully.
Got it.
Yeah, what I'll do, guys, is I'll let you guys, I'm going to take off. Is anybody showing up to the role plays on Mondays and Fridays with Juan? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are? I was just going to let you guys figure out your own schedules. And like, if you guys want to just make them like have groups within yourself, what probably would be helpful if we just created like accountability groups. So like, cause like not everybody can make all of those times. I know some of you guys work 9 to 5s. And so what we'll do is we'll just have like little accountability pods where you guys can go over KPIs. You guys can do that, have little groups inside. And so you guys can role play with each other, or like, we'll have like a foreclosure group, right? Where you guys can talk about foreclosures. We can do that. And then I would like to do evening calls. So Evan right there, he wants to do evening role plays. So I'm going to change things up. We're trying to make some improvements to the school community. So we'll give you guys like more flexibility of when you want to role play on your own time. And I'll post right after, probably later today in the school community. So you guys can get organized with that. Hunter, I got 2 minutes, bro. Really 1, because I need to run to the restroom before my advanced group call.
Yeah, typically, what do you see for offers made to contracts signed for cold call leads? What is your KPI ratio?
20% minimum.
Okay, so if you have 10 offers, you see about
2 contracts.
Okay.
Yep.
And if I'm not meeting that, obviously I'm learning the new sales process, but what, I guess, suggestions do you typically see if somebody's not meeting that? I guess for your team, what do you typically do to tackle that problem?
Sales training every single day.
Yeah, just get reps. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the more reps you can do, is the better, right? Like if an Olympic athlete wasn't hitting his, track time, like what would he do?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He would run every day.
Yeah.
And then like I focus on for example, to answer your question even more in depth, I focus on the number one thing that's preventing their close rate. It might be problem impact. It might be needs. It might be future pacing. So I'll just focus on one thing with them at a time. It's the same thing I do with my advanced students. I go, okay, I've role play with you. I figure out the one thing that you need to work on, and then I just tackle that every single day. We'll just role play it until they get it, and then they move on. So you just have to figure out what's the number one thing that you are struggling with that's preventing your close rate. Cool?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll make that post later today. You guys make sure you check it out. Otherwise, see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, John.
All right.